Hi, welcome and thank you for joining in on today's episode on the Voice of Reformation. And the Voice of Reformation is brought to you by the New African Concept. And as always, if you have been following our videos, I am always reminding us of what we stand for as a movement. We are a group and, as it were, a move that is committed to the holistic transformation of nations and the championing of the cause of the African Renaissance. And in this series that we have been having, we have been talking about the school of values, and we have always maintained the philosophy and the truth that nations are founded on their value systems and not their resources, material gains, or even their geographical location. So values, nations are made or broken by their value systems. And that is why it is so important as we seek to rebuild the strength and glory of Ghana as a nation and Africa as a continent. And so it is important that as you listen to these, you cultivate and build these values in yourself, because change is first personal before it is public. So as we do it on an individual basis, it is going to affect the nation, our families, and society at large. And so thank you for joining in once again. And on today's episode, we are talking about the value of the dignity of labor. We are talking about the value of the dignity of labor. Now, quickly, let us understand this. Every man is born to be involved in some form of work. All of us have been created to engage in some form of labor, because nations are built and established through the creation of wealth. So wealth creation is a necessity for nation building. And how does that come about? It comes about through the system or the fundamental placement of labor of its people and the various sectors that we consider. And so labor is important, inevitable, and necessary. So every man is committed and born to engage in some form of labor. And so if you find yourself in a nation where working and contributing to the national development of that nation is a difficulty for you, or something that you don't want to engage in, then something is wrong somewhere. So while we are doing this, we must understand that the corporate development of every nation is a network of the various labor cross-sections of that nation. So I am doing this, you are doing that. As we all attend to our diversity of labor and work, what happens is that we all contribute and bring our various resources to be able to see to the corporate advancement of our society and nation at large. Now, quickly, let us understand this, that when we do not engage and understand the dignity of the labor that we find ourselves in, it does a couple of things to us. It breaks the pattern of abundance and wealth creation for ourselves and for our nation. It breaks the ability to garner influence in our field of work, and even as a nation to be able to matter in the affairs of the world. So when labor is absent, or better still, the quality of labor is not strong in a nation, number one, wealth creation becomes stifled, and our influence and relevance is also broken and unable to matter on the world stage. So these are things that we must begin to pay attention to, because the greatest resource of every nation is not its material resources, but its human resource. And so if the people in the nations are the ones by whose hands and minds the wealth of the nation is going to be built, then we must begin to understand and cultivate the value of quality and dignity in the labor which we inculcate in advancing our nations. And so we want to talk about the fact that we as Ghanaians must work hard. We must cultivate the attitude of hard work in whatever we engage ourselves in. So in our workplaces, in whatever that we are given to do, we must seek for efficiency. We must seek for total execution and implementation in whatever we find ourselves in. When we are unable to give a certain form of commitment to what we are doing, then it ultimately and in the long run stifles the corporate ability of the nation to advance. And so we must cultivate the attitude of hard work as Ghanaians. Let us not be complacent. Let us not be relaxed when it comes to the things we must do in the various sectors that we find ourselves in. So whatever it is your hands have found to do, as a good book tells us, we must do it with all of our strength and to the glory of God. So whatever your hands have found to do, no matter how small it is, give it your best. Be totally and wholly committed to whatever effort or opportunity you have been granted, so that the totality of its fruitfulness will be seen in your life. Now let me talk about this. Also another very sensitive factor that we must consider in cultivating the value of the dignity of labor. And I am talking about our attitude towards work. As Ghanaians and as Africans, we must cultivate the right kind of attitude towards labor. We must work towards our work ethics. Now, more often than not, when you step into a private establishment, the statement that the black man does what is inspected and not what is expected becomes very tangible in this particular department. What does that mean? Because there are cameras all over the place. The boss can walk in anytime, or he's in his office. The salary, whatever he's doing is dependent on his salary and things like that. And so because of that, you may find him coming early to work. You may find him putting a certain level of productivity. But if you are to leave this person on his own, or the day the boss will not come to work, or we tell you, oh, there's an extra work that needs to be done, then we see the true colors of the person. And so our attitude to work must be refined and enhanced to ensure maximum productivity. Now, I spoke about the private establishment. Even worse is the place of government positions and careers. When we step into a government work, there seems to be this atmosphere of laziness and indifference concerning everything that we do. And interestingly, this is more of an effect than a cause. It is a product of an outstanding and prevailing situation that happened even from the time of slavery. Because within that time, when our colonial masters had taken over the country and nation at the time, people were recruited and employed to work for the colonial masters. And so there was this disdain and redundancy in trying to work or being productive, because at the end of the day, whatever you do is to help the white man or to help your colonial master. So that fervency and desire to give my best was not there. Interestingly, when the time of colonialism passed, unfortunately, this kind of mindset remained, where we still think that when we are working for the government, then it is that, oh, I am working for the government. It is for their benefit. I don't get anything from it. And so you hear this very common statement that, oh, this is not my father's job. This is for the government. Why must I give my best to it? So they come when it is break time. They go for break, return minutes, and such extend the break time unnecessarily. When we are at work, we are not paying our attention, we are not giving our best. When people come in, the kind of services we are supposed to give, we are not giving the right kind of services. Our work ethics are just poor because of the kind of mindset that we have. And so we must begin to reform our thinking and our approach towards work, our attitude towards work. Understand that when you are employed in the government sector, you are not just working for the government, you are working with the government. You are working for the corporate development, as I said earlier, for the corporate development and advancement of the nation. So you find these people being lackadaisical at work, then they come back home and complain about the work of others. More especially political leaders or the pastors or other people not doing their work, or they'll sit in a public transport and blame the bus conductor for not doing his work well because maybe he forgot to give back your change or anything of the sort. And so we must pay attention to our attitude to work. My final point I want to touch on. One of the things that has caused us to lose a value on the dignity of labor is on the miracle craze mentality that has been prevailing in Ghana and Africa for a while now. And what is this miracle craze mentality? It is the proposition that when I am reliant on the supernatural, then my material gain and wealth is going to come from that place. If I am submissive to the demands of the supernatural, then there's going to be some sort of breakthrough or some sort of miracle that will automatically and strangely take me out of my suffering or deficiency that I am having. Unfortunately, you see, this kind of thinking, once again, is more of an effect than a cause, because unfortunately it has originated from the place called the church. So when you have a nation where 7 out of 10 people are considered as Christians, and on a weekly basis the church has the audience of the nation, at least 70% of the population of Ghana, and the kind of mindset and psychology we are pushing is that you must rely on miracles. You must sow a seed. You must rely on a prophetic word to be able to gain financial stability. When this kind of thinking and mindset is pushed, then what that means is that, I begin to think that then why do I need to work hard? If I can pay my way into a breakthrough, if I can sow a seed into my financial elevation, then why do I need to work hard? Because at the end of the day, my prophet will pray for me or my pastor will pray for me. These kind of reforms must be instituted, starting especially from the place of the church. Mind you, I am not saying that miracles do not exist. I am a Christian myself, and I've been privy to miracles and the prevalence of the supernatural myself. But that is not all there is to it. It is a means. You see, mentalities or miracles are seen or expressed when principles have been exhausted. So these are things we must begin to look at. So we must focus on principles more than we focus on miracles. So these are the things that we must begin to put in place to turn the minds and the perspectives of the people to consider and value the dignity of labor. That we must do quality work to see the right kind of wealth creation and influence and abundance that is needed in our nation and in Africa at large. And so, dear viewers, as you listen to me in this day, I charge you that whatever your hands have found to do, do it with all your strength and the quality of mind and all there is. And to our churches and our religious leaders, let us propound this value and teach our people. When people are giving testimonies, give the microphones to those who by dint of hard work have been able to accrue and set certain things in motion, certain breakthroughs in motion, so that we can reorient our mindsets to let the people understand that yes, miracles are good, but they are not the order of the day. Principles have been put in place so that we can effectively achieve the result of the principles. Miracles are only intermediary interventions when principles have been exhausted. Never forget that. So let us value the dignity of labor. If you want to interact with us more, you want to know more, about what we are about and the School of Values, I would highly recommend that you like, follow, and comment on these videos. Make sure you follow us. We'll bring coming your way next week with the next value. God bless you and thank you for joining in on the Voice of Reformation. I believe in Ghana. We are the New African Concept, believe in Ghana, and so must you. See you in the next episode.